MLBB has opened up more possibilities for the other teams in MY. We'll find out. RSG on the other hand, the XP laner and the jungler, very interesting dynamic, right? They have their preferred type of heroes to play, and it's not the ones that you expect.
Exactly. Here's the thing, right? I think a very big problem with RSG MY, and some people either agree or disagree with it. I do think that they are extremely explosive, but Zayed, he is definitely way more comfortable in playing high damage junglers in comparison to traditional tank junglers, right? And then we look over to Rippo. After coming back from MPL Indonesia, representing Malaysia all over again, tank style EXP laners definitely suits him a lot better than raw damage dealers.
Yeah, which feels a bit weird, right? Because when you look at the meta right now, the tank XP laners, you're probably looking at primarily just Fredrin, right? Most of the other XP laners, Yuzong, Lapu Lapu, even Edith, they all are damage dealers. And you look at the jungle comparison, we saw Zayed run the Joy jungle. I don't think we'll see it today. But if we put Joy jungle aside, I guess we're going back to the Ling, perhaps the Lancelot, perhaps the Hayabusa.
I feel like Hayabusa Ling definitely is going to lean more towards Zayed's favor. I think if their coach is like, hey, what would you like to play in terms of damage junglers, those are the top two that's probably going to come up in his list.
What about the Fanny? Is it going to be important in this series?
He can definitely play the Fanny, but again, Fanny is one of those conditional situations, right? Like, do you have the right tools to kind of enable her, especially in the early game? Do you have some late game policies that you want to put into place? Is there a strong side? More importantly, Kufra still available? There's so many things that you have to worry about, and as good as Fanny is, Zayed's a great player, but it's not like he can absolutely trash an entire team by himself.
Even the best players that we saw from yesterday have had their moments on Fanny, and wasn't the cleanest. We saw Fanny fall in some of these games. We saw Fanny make just impossible comebacks. Games that you wouldn't think that a Fanny could recover from, and that happened thanks to MLBB. So overall, I think RSG would probably have a lot more up their sleeves. And do you think that this dynamic between the XP and the jungler would cause them more harm than good down the road?
I think down the road it's definitely going to cause them more harm than good, because it makes their drafts a little bit more predictable, especially when you see flex picks, right? Flex picks is great because you can kind of make your opponents question where is it going to go, but as soon as you kind of find out these habits between Rippo and as well as Zayed, you know that there is a preference that they're leading more in towards, so there's a higher probability that it's going to be predictable. So I think for RSG MY, if we do see Rippo trying to play out damage EXP laners, we see Zayed go into the jungle tank style junglers, I think that even for me, I'm tired of the tank style junglers. I would prefer to see Zayed just going into Lancelot, tank slot, or even his Benedetta. Not too bad.
Yeah, and I think that also kind of ties into the flex picks that we've seen a lot. Fredrin, I think, for an example, I think that would be less of an option for RSG MY, right? If we're just looking at these two players by themselves.
Yes. It doesn't mean that they're not going to whip it out, right? It's definitely one of those things where they show it early, and teams who don't know this particular dynamic are going to fall into that trap.
Yeah, and was it them who ran the Martis XP lane?
Yes. They decided to go for the Martis EXP lane and then threw in the
Joy jungle.
The Joy jungle, yes.
And the Grok roam. I mean, Red Esports had I would say Red Esports yesterday had, was it an easier series? I don't want to say it's easier because they went up against SMG Singapore. But then you look at the overall result. RSG definitely had a more dominant series playing against Alchemy SG.
Look, we love our neighbors a lot. Singapore is very near and dear to our hearts as Malaysians, but what I would say is that every single time after we finish a game against Singapore and a Malaysian team won, there's definitely a sense of pride and joy that kind of like, just a blink, just a moment before coming back down to reality.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we might lose all of them today.
Yeah. No, there's got to be one Singaporean team that makes it through. Somebody has got to make it through.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We'll see them towards the very end. Thankfully, they're playing on the...
I don't like that pause that you did there. I don't like the way you looked at me and then you paused for half a second.
They're playing later on, okay?
They'll make it through. Trust.
They'll make it through.
Trust. But Red Esports this time around, I do want to see them kind of keep on improving, especially for like Mel QT, for an example. He has been kind of labeled as like that Claude one trick, and he can play other marksmen. It's very possible. We've seen him play Beatrix before. We've seen him play Melissa before. Obviously, there's going to be it might not necessarily be the options that is given towards him, but I think it's good enough.
What about when we compare these two marksmen, right? We have MLQT, we have L'Oreal's. Both marksmen yesterday basically crushed their games. Is this an even matchup? Are we looking at these two teams banking it on the gold laners again?
You know what? Funny enough, I do think that both L'Oreal's and MLQT have an extremely similar play style. I think that L'Oreal's likes to push the limits a lot more and start really pressing the boundaries. On the other hand, MLQT, I think it's very clear when he knows he can get the job done. I think it's very decisive with his movements.
I mean, we talked about the Fredrin. That's the first pick for RSGMY. They hit the Franco and the Kaja first ban, right? Wonder what this is alluding to. I mean, we have no Joy, no Fanny, no 1-1, no Arlot. What is RSGMY looking for?
I think it's going to be about the mid laners here, because again, the Farmus is wide open, the Blue is also wide open as well, and I think Red Esports are going to get both of them high priority picks, and it's okay. I think for RSGMY, it's totally fine. It's not like Rippo is going to get heavily punished by the Glue. He has access to the Fredrin. We're making a big assumption that this Fredrin is going to go to him because of the likelihood of his preferences, but RSGMY really need to get some artillery mages. They might also want to consider getting the marksman early, like the Melissa, so they can chunk out the Call Altar as well as protect herself from the split.
And I think that this is a big opening for RSGMY to go for like a Farsa or an Eve, right? Because thanks to the Farmus nerf recently, I think in the Roamer role, he just dies too fast. So it kind of locks him into the mid lane role. But can we expect Kim to be on the Farmers, or do you think that Red Esports would take the chances?
I think Kim is definitely going to go onto the Farmers here. I don't, unless they're really behind on what the patch notes are going to be, throwing this Farmers into the support section is very detrimental because the ult it takes quite a while to get back up. Your impact on the map has to be almost instantaneous, and most of the times people can see you going with a Shadow Stampede through walls.
And they slashed his defense by half, right? So he dies just half as fast. But they also, I feel like it also forces Red Esports to just pick the glue for themselves in case RSGMY kind of goes for the counter. But the Claude now goes over to L'Oreal, so it denies it away from MLQT himself, and Mel will take the Beatrix instead. So both goal laners kind of swapping their preferences.
See, this is why. This is how you know both of these teams know each other very, very well. Like, for the side of Red Esports, they're like, I'm not going to give Rippo glue. Like, hell no. No way that's going to happen. And RSGMY is like, I'm not going to give MLQT Claude. What do you think? We want to lose or something?
They're swapping drafts and swapping preference.
Because if this was a perfect world, Claude probably wouldn't have been the option here. Probably it was going to be something along the lines of Melissa, right? And then we jump over to Red Esports. The fact is that Melissa would be untouched because Glue has already been locked in. It's not going to be Yutong, it's not going to be Lapu Lapu unless they somehow throw one of those two EXP laners into the jungle and make it work. Then it's a different story. For Red Esports, they ban out the Atlas. They know that they want to play a team fight composition, so get rid of one of those table flipping supports.
Yeah, and we still have a couple more tanks in the pool, right? We have the Kufra. I think we also have the Lolita. I think that has also been pretty highly contested by some of these teams, especially when you're looking at a team that doesn't want to deal with. Just doesn't want the damage to get blocked out, right? In this case, when you have that Claude, maybe the Lolita would be a decent choice overall. One of the best counter engager spells also in this game. There's also the Grok.
I don't think the Grok is going to be highly prioritized. I feel with RSGMY, it's unlikely that they're going to ban out the Grok. They're probably thinking along the lines of like, okay, we already see their mage, we already see their EXP laner as well as their gold laner. We need to start taking away... What? I feel like they wanted that Claude more... sorry, not Claude. They wanted the Lolita more than they want to ban it, but I guess it can go both ways, I suppose.
I thought Red Esports would be the one that is more pressed to ban the
Right?
Lolita.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's why it's a little strange to see it being banned for the side of RSGMY.
What is Red Esports worry about? I mean, we still have the potential XP laner, right? I mean, if RSG really wants to flex at Fredrin, there's always the possibility. I mean, knowing them, probably not, but you always have there's always an option, right?
Yeah, there's definitely always an option here. I think Red Esports need to keep in mind that they need to have some kind of mid-pressure, because when you have mid-pressure against the jungler who's very reliant on the purple buff, Ling, Hayabusa for an example, then you're going to lose so much influence across the map. Red Esports, they decide to ban out the Minotaur. That's a really good option. I was saving the Minotaur potential call-out pick for later, but Red Esports beat me to it.
Just huge crowd control, just a lot of defenses a lot of resistance as well. I mean, when you want to stick together, I think Minotaur suddenly becomes a good pick.
He's technically got 3 knockups inbuilt into his kit.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and that I think knockups are a lot more busted than what people imagine because it's one of the few abilities that can't, like knockups in particular, can cancel out a majority of abilities.
You can't purify it, right?
You can purify it, but the timing needs to be before the knockup, not in the middle of it. Crazy, right? You would imagine purify. Oh, I'm walking in air. I'm air walking the whole time.
One of the few phenomena that don't make sense, but it's okay.
Look, it's Mobile Legends. There's a little bit of inconsistencies here and there, but at the end of the day, it's all about fun and games. Lancelot, very good ban from the side of RSG MY. They're going to force Red Esports in a position where it's like, okay, you can either play damage junglers, which you can absolutely do for sure. We're not going to give you Fredrin. If you play Martis, that sounds like a great idea, but honestly, it doesn't really provide too much for the side of Red Esports.
So Red just responds with the Kufra, right? And you keep your jungler for last. I mean, RSGMY, they have a couple of options. If we really want to pivot down to the Ling or the Hayabusa, it's not too bad of a choice, but you have a lot of hoops to jump through against Red.
Yeah, personally, I think it's just way too many hoops to jump through, right? RSGMY, they're going to be finishing off their composition here. They still need a jungler. They still technically, a jungler EXP because of the flex pick, and also a support. In terms of the support section, I think it's going to be a little difficult because nothing really gets the job done as effectively. They could lead into like a enchanter style of support. Diggy doesn't sound like a bad idea here. Assuming that it's allowed in the tournament rooms. What else? Estes is not bad, but it's all about coordination, right? And you're up against a Kufra.
Oh, there it is. And we see it, the Uranus is out. I mean, you have to watch it for another game.
I hate it. I hate everything about this. You know what? I'm now a Red Esports fan.
It's a throwback moment. So the Grok does go through. I mean, when you look down the list of tanks, I guess Grok is kind of like, you want me or not, right? We don't have much people left. Like, do you really want to take anyone else?
I think the most ideal would have been the Lolita, but I think it's great that you have access to Grok still, because at least you know that Red Esports wants to kind of clump up together. You have anti-CC to kind of open up the map, but as soon as you see the call Altar get popped, Wild Charge is coming immediately after.
Who kills the Uranus? I think that would be a big question.
Nobody kills the Uranus.
Right. So you have the Paquito, he's not going to have enough damage. Beatrix also takes a bit of time. This Uranus is going to sandbag the entire game.
Yeah.
We do see Zayat on that tank jungler for once. It's going to be the Fredrin.
That's an interesting option. That's a really, really interesting option. I was thinking that for sure this Fredrin is going to go into the hands of Rippo and they give Zayat like a Benedetta or arguably even the Paquito, but Red Esports, they take the Paquito for themselves. So here's the interesting thing about Paquito. As good as he is, I love playing him. One of my favorite heroes to play. There's a lot of heroes that technically can't match up with his early game power. And in this case, Claude is going to be heavily targeted. The Yves as well is going to be heavily targeted throughout the map because I don't think he can kill anybody else.
I don't think so either, right? Like, the biggest worry is who is going to deal with the Uranus. I think that would be a constant question for the rest of the game. You have this guy who is going to cut waves. Glue is a neutral lane, right? Paquito, he shows up top. Consecration gets used. Uranus is just, it's not fun.
He is not fun.
Although I miss him, I do agree he's just not good. Because I haven't seen him.
Oh, that's it. You haven't seen Uranus in a while. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Sometimes it's
not
hard
ever.
to look at. not ever.
Takes a lot of effort. Oh, an attempted steal from Mao. It's very cheeky with that leap in. Doesn't get it.
But the man tried. The man tried. I do feel like Grok probably didn't have to be down on the bottom side of the map. But then again, it is a Beatrix, and if this early game goes terribly for Loliels, it's going to continue getting worse. It will continue to get worse. I think for Red Esports, I'm just keeping my eyes on Amal, right? He decided to go Master Assassin. He's looking to snipe some people out of nowhere. Question is whether he can find those targets in the first place.
What are the targets Yves and Claw, right? Your best two targets. You kind of expect Red Esports to make that space. I mean, you have Mao, who is constantly getting mirrored by Ney in the mid side, so that is kind of not an option. But aside from that, you are not going to be going to the glue lane in anytime soon.
Oh hell no! Like Amal, he just wants this. He just wants the river crab here. It's not like he can take out Zayat or Rippo, but yes, Amal, with one jab and a quick retribution, able to secure it. You can see that he's got some decent damage against Rippo for now, but only because he has that level lead. Zayat walking up, already getting the taunt onto Aaron.
Yeah, massive burst damage from Amal himself. Yeah, Ripple just having a health advantage at this point.
Okay, now he's...
all these extended fights, right?
This is really awkward because Amal, he shouldn't be wasting time here. He knows that Zayed is on this top side, so at least both of them are wasting time together. He technically could have gone... He could have gone to the mid lane. He could have gone anywhere else on the map to try and make an impact.
Esports now will try to at least distract the rest of RSGNY as Amal tries to secure this turtle. Aaron, he's doing a fantastic job. Just latching on the members of RSGNY. The rhetoric comes through. Amal gets the turtle, and now Rumor Manipulation instantly gets used by the side of RSGNY. First blood still goes over to Amal. He finds a double before he drops. And Red Esports just have the numbers. Kim able to get out at the very last second.
Izanami, he should be fine here. Nicely played by Amal. I think he really pulled that one from and turned it from a 50-50 situation to an 80% win ratio, all because he was able to take the turtle and get 2 kills before he went down. I was expecting a 1-for-1 trade at best, but he was able to get a little bit more. And not to mention that it's kind of strange that Aaron pulled Zayed back into the pit rather than pulling him away from the turtle. That's a little bit of a nuance, but like we got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, make it more challenging.
Yeah.
I heard you're a good jungler. Can you retreat this? Apparently you can. Mao does have the ult, but best time to fight is blocked by the wall. Wild Charge expended by Nate. No kills. Mel is supporting him very well. In fact, having a minor experience lead over Loliao's. I mean, this goal lane matchup is going to be one for the books as well.
For sure, for sure. I mean, every quad versus Beatrix, it always boils down to the same thing. Can you actually survive this early game until you hit 4? And as soon as you hit 4, at least you can match the wave clear that Beatrix has access to, right? Obviously, you don't have 2 ults, but hey, at least you can buy a little bit of time.
Yeah, you get to clear 1 wave, right? You buy half a minute.
In half a minute, yeah. But now, piling up. Oh, this could be big.
Zayed, he's going to be gone on instantly. Shoved right into the wall. And it's just 4 versus 2. Not a fight that Red Esports wants to take. Ney and Zayed already sacrificed. And Red Esports now have full control of the turtle pit.
I like the timing here coming in from Red Esports, right? They knew that RSGNY wasn't going to try anything crazy. They'll start scouting out around the 13-second mark. Oh, wait.
They're going to dive with the Ripple as well. Who says we can't kill the Uranus? He says it because he still survives. Had to pop the ult.
No, he didn't cancel it! Cancel it! No, just auto-attack! Just auto-attack! You don't always have to use all the spinning discs.
Makes it still an uneven fight. RSGNY now have more men. Ripple back to full health. Aaron split user ready. He's gonna stick on to Zai once more. Pulls him back to wither his health away. Zai will try to drag Aaron into the rest of his team as Red Esports. Amal works on the turtle. Less than half health. Aaron will be able to disengage. Mao and Kim by his side. Mao looking to finish off this turtle in one fell swoop. Ripple straight into the midst of it, but Mel keeps everyone from RSGNY away. Turtle goes to Rit.
Basically, they're playing. Oh, Lolials?
Let's clear the wave. Mel actually flickers forward. Dual manipulation and flicker from Izanami for the punish. Nicely done.
Really good bait coming in from Lolials there. As soon as he saw the flicker, he quickly popped that Purify just to get a little bit of movement speed to make some distance because he's baiting out Mel QT who committed a full flicker for it. And as soon as that happens, Izanami drops down the ult to punish him. Can't get out of the box, can't get away from the box, instantly dies.
Silver lining is Red Esports forced 2 battle spells at the cost of 1.
Huge.
Bad news is they had to give their marksman away.
Yeah, good news, bad news, unfortunately.
Yeah, good news, bad news.
Top side, though, at least we are seeing the adjustment coming in from Red Esports. They were the ones who decided to go for the lane swap because the neutral objective's on the bot side of the map. But here we go.
Finding Zayed again, shove into the wall, and now this time, Loliao shows up with a big ult, only breaking the call altar, but doesn't have enough damage. Zayed, massive Appraisal's Wrath. Now the Grot Wall shows up. Aaron blocked away from the rest of his team. I mean, RSGNY able to disengage that pretty cleanly, unless Red Esports has something to say about it, finding Ney in the process, and able to walk away with a kill.
This is really nicely done coming in from Amal, right? Again, when you are playing that Paquito, you either have to choose one of 2 things. Either you're going for that early game damage, or you're looking at gank.
Again with the flicker, pulling Loliel's back, and Amal just styles on both the cores of RSG.
Beautiful. As I was saying, it's all now when we see Master Assassin, it's all about ganking. You're getting gold not just through power farming, but also looking for these big kills across the map. If he was going for something like Demon Slayer, for an example, you know that he's going to be sitting in his jungle looking for invades and trying to get a level lead on Zaya, but Now, the amount of ganks, successful ganks, as a matter of fact, that he got. Zayed a level down.
Massive pressure, and Zayed also kind of, well, he's been able to hold the fort for pretty long in these fights, but his team, well, they are the ones in threat, right? You have this Mojito constantly just accessing the back. Red Esports will be able to get a free third turtle for sure. Amao is in a 4-1 massive lead.
Huge lead. These 2 levels on Zayed. Once Zayed clears up his buff, he will turn it back into a 1-level lead. But again, the tempo that Amal is playing at right now, it's going to snowball out of control.
Mao instantly re-engages, blazing duet from low Liaos. Not that it doesn't matter though. Only breaks the call Ulta. The real manipulation is going to be there. But they need to find some sort of kill. Kim taunted up by Zayed. He's going to go down, but Amao once more with the backstab and just gives them the 1-2 uppercut. An elbow smash to the face. Amao gets a double.
Beautifully played. Beautifully played here. I love the fact that Mel, he did one auto attack onto Zayed and was like, maybe not. Oh, wow. What? That kills him. The champion stats jab.
Underneath the tier 1.
Big yikes. Big yikes there. Oh man, I thought the real world, he didn't have the real world manipulation. That probably explains it, why he didn't have that shield came out. But look at the gold earned. Mel QT, Ren QT, and Amal, all of them in that top 3 gold earners.
I mean, I don't think Loliaos even expected to die, right? He was holding, I'm not sure if he had his cooldown, the battle mirror image, but man, that one shot. We're gonna find another one up top. This time the Uranus finally has a Madness Maker.
Yeah, at this point, the only way to slow down the game is if Rippo has at least 2 items here, and even then, it's still a little dangerous. Emal is really, really strong right now, and you can't disrespect that.
A wild charge, gonna try and punish Mel, but the call Ulta and the Flicker saves him. Aaron is somehow in the back. They will have to give Kim away. A bit of a weird move from Red Esports.
Alright, I guess it's fine. I think Kim understood that he didn't want to lose his battle spell, and plus, it's a short cooldown to actually live and die. Grok instantly dying there. It just shows how big Amal is. Wow! Sea Halberd! Holy, this man is really greeting out here.
So, all those Kung Fu movies are real. If you train enough, you're going to be able to break 3 blocks, and then rock.
And then rocks,
and then you break a planet also. Speaking about planet, Uranus absolutely shredded. He might need to take Pluto's place at this point. You gotta get him out of the pool.
He's not a real planet no more.
He's not a real planet no more. Kim will find Loliaos, and he knows that he's gonna be sacrificed, but it's still worth it, right? You get the marksman out of the way, and Red Esports gets full control of this jungle.
Yeah, a little unfortunate that Kim had to die there. He ended up losing his battle spell as well. But overall, Red Esports, the influence that they have across this map with a 6K gold lead is rather nuts, and it looks like they have RSG MY's number.
That's a free lord. The sheer damage from this Mojito and Beatrix. Like how is RSG ever going to team fight?
I mean, right now they can't, right? Unfortunately, Amal is 3 levels ahead of Zayed. Zayed is out of this game for now, but the rest of his team aren't capable of scaling.
If they have the time even, instantly deletes this Grog. He is smashing rocks at this point. Lord isn't even out yet. He's going to be slowly coming in from the top side. Amal, that one punch took away half of Zayed's health. The river manipulation out of range. RSGNY pushed back into their base.
Yep, Red Esports, they can play as aggressive as they want to, and they can also decide to back off whenever they want to. RSGNY just does not have the damage right now, and with the call Altar, it's making all their aggression essentially useless, right? The Blazing Duet only cuts through the temp HP, and you need to combine it with Izanami to actually get some profit in terms of life pool.
We saw that, and even that wasn't a 100-0 scenario, right? They still had to recommit some spells.
It's tough. I mean, RSGNY, they're going to be playing from behind for a very long time. And Red Esports, a lot of professional teams that have a 10K gold lead usually can close out the game pretty easily.
Let's see how this is going to go. Now, missing the lead just by a little bit. You get punished for it now, but will instantly flicker to safety. The Lord working on the top inhibitor. Members of RSGNY dropping very low. Big rocket barrage coming through. Red Esports breaks one. RSGNY will have to deal with the rest of the waves.
Okay, so an inhibitor First inhibitor off of that Lord already. Big profits for the side of Red Esports, especially since it's the first Lord. Usually you don't get an inhibitor this early in the game, but I think in time, we look at the damage leaderboard, both MelQT and Amal, so huge. Literally so huge. 4 items already complete for the Beatrix. 4 items already complete for the Paquito as well. It's really hard to imagine that Red Esports throws this.
Yeah, it's like what, Hunter Strike, Malefic Roar, Sea Halberd, Bloodlust Axe, Immortality coming up. That's the last item.
I really don't know how they're going to come back from this one. I feel like RSG MY, if Ripple is going to do anything, he literally has to proxy right at their fountain, like right at the crystal, like hoping that Red Esports turns away.
Zion almost a 3-shot by Amal. Kim was be able to push back. Flicker from Mel. They're just going to finish off this Fredrin. Zyder's already gone, and the Paquito now gets to do whatever he wants alongside the Beatrix. Double for him. Amal just with that one punch sent Loliel all the way running back to his mama. As Red Esports looking to break this bot inhibitor. RSGMY only has 3 members left. They're gonna buy some time. Loliel's again! Just absolutely shredded in terms of health pool.
Yep, he knows he can take the damage, but he knows that Beatrix is going to keep on sieging this inhibitor, and they can't just let him have it for free. But right now, RSGMY are just too far behind to really be able to answer it effectively. What was that? Yeah, I was distracted. What happened there?
Was that a satellite?
Yeah. Oh, but it looks like Mal is good. Oh, he's caught. He's caught.
Yeah, blocked off. Counter engage. Kim flickers forward, and that's a big damage coming up from Mel. Amal is unstoppable. Someone stop this man. He is punching a guy with a gun. He brought his fist to a gunfight. And Mel finds himself a shutdown also. Red Esports, they trade treat just for a Kufra, and RSGMY, they only have 2 men left. They can still defend the base, but this Lord is out of commission.
Man, Mal, if it wasn't for this goal lead, I don't think he should have been able to get away with that, right? Using the Nature's Barrier to actually have a structure to push and stun people into kind of worked against RSGMY's favor, even though they're cutting off his pathway.
This Lord could be the game ender. Pre-14 minutes, Red Esports like what, 12,000 gold lead. 10-1 Paquito, 6-1 Beatrix. Aaron hasn't even died a single time this game.
There's no way. There's no way that Red Esports messed this up on. Aaron, buddy. They're not going to chase this for sure. Actually, they could if they wanted to, because the wave technically hasn't spawned for the side of Red Esports. It's about to spawn in 3 seconds here. There we go.
Yeah, Kim sees them also. I mean, look at the coverage from Red Esports. They are just sitting outside the RSG base.
I mean, there's nothing to fight for, right? It's just we're gonna clear the side waves, sync it up with that hard mid push, and then eventually just end the game.
Oh my goodness, Ripple losing 20% of his health.
I've never seen Uranus take that much damage in my life.
Me neither. Oh, what? What? Yeah, he took way too much damage, and this is the final push. Nay doing his very best. Zai just losing his entire first life. Holding on to this game, but Red Esports, they're just going to pry it off of the cold dead hands of RSGMY. What a clean game 1 from Red Esports.
Yep, nicely done. 1-0. Currently a match point in this best of 3 against RSGMY. Too much of a snowball lead. Amal definitely pulling big weight there, allowing the rest of the team to have a lot of space and breathing room to scale super quick and lock out the game after a 10k gold lead. Nice game coming in from Red Esports. Very clean, very methodical.
History might repeat itself, right? This could be an.
Hey, wait a minute! Is that the M1 caster?
It is. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
The guy trying to hide behind. Get it back in. Oh,
yeah. What's up?
Give me the money shot.
The money shot.